Hey, good to see you again. The factory sent over the parts that were looking good on the rig. They're being fitted as we speak. Have a look at the report.
What's going, guys? Aarava here. Welcome back to my F1 2016 career mode, part number 3 today from the Chinese Grand Prix. And as you can see there, my R&D engineer has given us the report for the new part fitted, the reduction in drag due to new barge board. So now we've got 2 parts officially fitted to the car. Of course, at Bahrain, we got the brand new chassis weight reduction upgrade, and then now we've got the barge board. So this should help out here at China, obviously, with a very long back straight, reducing the drag without really affecting anything else. So hopefully that will help out. And now we've got a few less points. We need to do some work to really kind of hold back the points and maybe actually save up a little bit, because I think the next upgrade I want to go for is perhaps that engine upgrade. But anyway, let's get on towards the story of practice here at China now. Historically, China has not been my favorite circuit. I personally think it's quite a boring circuit to drive and to watch in real life, and I've never really gone well at China. So we really had to try and get used to it here in practice, especially with the Mclaren Honda. Of course, you know, it's got such a long back straight that we have to maybe find a compromise in the setup between straight line speed but also plenty of downforces. You got that long turn one, you've got a really twisty second sector, and through the track acclimatization, getting used to the track was okay. Obviously, you're not really pushing that hard on the track acclimatization, you're just trying to get it through all the zones to get the best possible time. And then generally through the other practice programs, it wasn't actually that great tire wear. I actually was fully in the red, worst tire wear for every single run I did. So we still managed to get an okay amount of R&D points, but I was actually struggling quite a lot in practice, just generally trying to find a setup and just making a lot of mistakes, as you can clearly see here, just touching some curbs, touching some grass here and there, generally just trying to figure out what the setup was, but pushing the car to the limits, trying to find the limit of the track in my lines, and getting it horribly wrong a few times, especially here to the hairpin. I tried something different with my brake bias, and that completely failed and blew up in my face, which was quite funny to see. But we finished out the session ahead of Jenson Button in practice, but you can see there that our times are really slow, albeit we are on the medium tires. I did most of my practice sessions on the mediums, but we did a few laps on the super softs. But generally not feeling amazing with practice, but going into qualifying I was a bit more hopeful, because towards the end of the session of practice I did find a setup that at least felt comfortable to me. It wasn't necessarily fast, but at least I could go around the lap and not really want to cut myself after, you know, kind of struggling through the first few laps I did in practice. But as you can see, there are plenty of struggles here at China, so this might be quite a tough race for us, you know, going off practice. But we're going towards qualifying now, and qualifying was a very, very interesting one. Through Q1, it was overcast conditions, very cold conditions. I didn't set a very good lap time, and I was actually very scared about not getting knocked out in Q1, and we just about made it through, you could see here. And surprisingly, Kimi Räikkönen and the likes of 2 Haas cars not setting lap times. All these guys behind us, thankfully, not setting lap times. I'm not too sure. I think you can, if you look at the bottom of your screen there, you can see the track is damp, so I think it started to rain right at the end of the session. All these guys just didn't bother to go out because they weren't going to set faster lap times than all of us who went out earlier in the session. So thankfully, just made it through into Q2, which did end up being wet on the intermediate tires. Our very first running on this game in this career mode on wet conditions, and this year in the wet, it is amazing. It really is such a difference now in this game compared to any other Codemasters games in the wet. Now finally, in the wet, you have to drive like the drivers do in real life, which is not pushing hard. You just have to make sure the car stays on the track. You have to tiptoe around and just make sure you keep the momentum going. Even if you do lose the back end, just make sure you keep the momentum of the car rolling through. You keep that car rolling through the corner, and that's exactly what you did. You can see this is a very kind of bog standard, very slow looking lap time, but it still ended up being pretty competitive, and we continued on here. I was actually thinking about probably just, you know, pausing the menu and returning to garage, but then through turn 1, you can see at the moment we're down on our delta, but then through this second part, I actually go up on my delta, and then I think, okay, hang on, why don't we just continue the lap? I put the car down to lean mix. I had it initially on rich, but I put it down to lean because that might help us on the traction on the exit of corners, and by this point I was really up on my delta, so I thought, okay, hang on, maybe the intermediates on this year's game actually worked better on the second run. And then through sector 2, you can see briefly there on the top right, I was purple. I was going fastest of anyone in this session in Q2, which was really fantastic to see. So we finish out the lap here in Q2, feeling really good all the while on lean mix, and we set a pretty decent lap time to go second there in the session behind Lewis Hamilton and ahead of Nico Rosberg, so I was feeling pretty fantastic at this point. We then went back into the garage, and you can see I'm fast forwarding here, and towards the end of Q2 it started to dry up, so all these guys were setting super soft times, and on soft tyres there you can see my teammates also set a better time than me, and we go down the order, but we just about make it into Q3 in 10th place there. We, myself and Hamilton, the only two who made it into Q3 on intermediate, so just showing that we did have some really good genuine pace on the inters, but just made it through. Both Red Bulls knocked out in Q2, very, very surprising there. Max Verstappen not even setting a time, and Ricciardo just getting knocked out and pipped by me and Hamilton there. So both McLarens, myself and Jensen, into Q3, looking pretty good, and only the one Ferrari for Vettel and both Mercs in there in terms of the top team. So very, very mixed up grid this will be with you know, obviously Kimi Raikkonen all the way down in what was 17th place, I think it was, and then both Red Bulls down the order. So very, very mixed up grid for the race ahead. So we now are on our Q3 lap. We're going to cut later on to the end of that lap. We set it through. I'm going to come through for what will be 6th place, which was a very, very awesome qualifying for us. I really did not think at the start of the episode we were going to get 6th place here, but me and Jensen 6th and 7th, showing that McLaren genuinely has some great pace around here, actually, surprisingly. And look at that, 2 Renaults in Q3 in 9th and 10th. That is amazing and very surprising to see. Sebastian Vettel on pole position, so sets up a fantastic race and what should be quite an interesting one to see how it pans out. So let's go to the Chinese Grand Prix. Right, so here we are on towards the race, and looking at the strategy here, I'm just going to fast forward through this because it was actually quite a faff to do this. Basically, I wanted to switch my strategy and basically do what Jensen Button did in the last episode, if you remember, at Bahrain. He started on the medium tyres and then went soft till the end, and that is exactly the strategy I want to do here at China, because the strategy beforehand was soft and then medium, so the medium at the end. But I think if I get the slower tyre out of the way, just like Jensen did, have pretty okay pace on heavier fuel on that tyre, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. There was another strategy that involved the super soft and basically doing a 3-stop. I didn't think that was going to be good for us because I didn't think we were going to have enough pace in this McLaren to do that around China, looking at how practice went, which was pretty damn horrible. So we kick off the formation lap here. You can see we're on the white wall tyre. You can see around us Button on super softs and Bottas on the soft tyre. So really nice to see such a difference in strategy between everyone. You know, Button on the softest compound, then you got Bottas ahead of us on the medium one, on the middle one, and then we're on the actual medium tyre at the end there. But you can see the resource points we got, and in the rivalry you can see we've beaten Jensen Button there, so we're getting a new rival for the next race. And in the driver position, we've met all the objectives the team wanted us to do, so we're looking pretty good with 8 points there in the driver tracker. So anyway, let's go towards 5 red lights for the Chinese Grand Prix, the 3rd round of the season from 6th place. What can we do today? Dump the clutch of 5 red lights, build up the revs. Rosberg's got a slow start. Bottas as well there on the left-hand side as we go towards turn 1. Can we try and get Bottas and maybe even Rosberg into turn 1? Here we go. We're going to move to the left-hand side, squeeze them out. We're up into 4th place. Massa goes slow into the second part of this first corner, and we're up into 3rd place. And Button there also has overtaken Bottas. He's up into 5th, so McLaren run 3-5 at the moment in a bit of a checkerboard with McLaren Williams there, but we're in 3rd right now behind what will be Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel, which is pretty amazing to see. But on towards lap 2 now, the inevitable is probably going to happen here as we come off the final bend onto this very, very long back straight. You can see Massa has no issue coming past us there, not even with DRS, just pure slipstream on the soft tyres there, and he's up into 3rd place. Probably a sight we're going to see quite a lot in this Grand Prix, but at the moment we're running 4, and Button is right behind us still in 5th place, able to hold off Bottas just about, but I think Bottas was a little further back. But Rosberg struggling there down in 6th place on his soft tyres as we move later on to the next lap around the same bend. Yet again, it's going to be a bit of a deja vu carbon copy here as Bottas streaks right past us. This time he's got DRS, but I'll have DRS off Massa so that should help us defend a little bit from Rosberg. So at least for this lap, Rosberg's not going to get us, but Bottas, we can't do anything about him. He locks up a little bit though. Actually, maybe we can do something. Go around the outside. He's on soft tyres, but he locked up quite horribly into the hairpin. We'll go around the outside side by side with the Finn into the final corner, and we'll just about get him. He'll go completely wide, and we'll get it back up into 4th place. So pretty good job to actually get that place back. That was all Bottas's mistake there. But then on to lap 4, the inevitable happens. Finally, Rosberg gets past us. We've got no DRS to defend, and so the German is up into 3rd place. But we're looking pretty good at the moment with 4th, and we've got quite a sizable gap there to the cars behind us. A lot of them already pitting now. Yeah, no, only lap 4, and all of them are pitting right now, because a lot of them were on super softs behind us, and the super softs literally only go about 3-4 laps really in terms of the tyre wear. So a big gap to the cars behind us. They've all pit already. You've got Ricciardo there on softs, who was obviously quite further back as he got knocked out in Q2, and we're closing up on Rosberg with DRS, just trying to keep the pace going. We're not going to try and overtake Rosberg, just trying to, use the DRS to help us a little bit, get away from all these guys. But you can see in the mini-map a huge gap to the cars behind us, because you've got the likes of Ricciardo, who are obviously quite a lot back, and then Hamilton, you can see, is behind us now, another set of super softs. He was obviously in 2nd place earlier on. So all the guys who started on super soft tyres at the beginning of this Grand Prix sort of get screwed a little bit, because they have to pit quite early, but of course they're going to have some good pace. But we move on to lap 7, and you can see a few laps later, we've lost some time to Rosberg, but not too much time. You can see in the mini-map, he's just there, and you can just about see him in the distance, his car going through the few corners ahead of us. As we move on to lap 8, we come through. We're in 1st place at the moment. Rosberg just pit from his soft tyres, obviously only going about 7 laps on heavy fuel. But we're in 1st place of this Grand Prix, and I didn't feel like the pace was too bad on these prime tyres, but we're probably going to have to soak this in. Probably one of the few times we're actually going to lead a Grand Prix. I think the only time we're going to be leading a Grand Prix this season is if we do this sort of strategy all the time, where we're on the hardest tyre at the beginning, so we can just have a bit of a short-lived glory in 1st place with no one ahead of us. But you can see Hamilton on super softs, Rosberg behind us on softs. Really fantastic to see at the Chinese Grand Prix now. The three tyre compounds really coming into play, with everyone choosing very varied strategies. But on to lap 12 now. Good pace so far, but the tyres were going off, so it's finally time to come in for our pit stop. We're going on to soft tyres, remember, and then another set of softs later on the Grand Prix. We can see the Mercedes goes past there of, I believe that is probably Rosberg, I think, or maybe even Hamilton. Maybe both Mercedes gone past us there. But Hamilton probably opting for a 3-stop, because he went super soft, so I think he's probably going to go softs and then mediums towards the end. And then Rosberg looks like he's going to do a 2-stop with me. So we're going to have to see how he goes. We come out of the pits. You can see on the right-hand side, no one's really coming down the pit lane. As we go through turn 1, obviously just trying to heat up the tyres best we can, going nice and cautiously through here. Don't want to go a bit too excited on the throttle, but you can see a Mercedes just went past of Hamilton there. He's on soft tyres, so Hamilton has already made 2 pit stops in this Grand Prix, whereas I've made 1. And you can see on the top left, we come out in 4th place ahead of Ricciardo. So that's absolutely crazy to actually think about. We've made 1 pit stop and we're still in 4th place somehow. Usually we come out and we're like in 12th or like, 9th, and we know that we're going to finish this position. But right now, on lap 15, 3 laps later, we're catching Lewis Hamilton, who's obviously on worn soft tyres because he pit a lot earlier than us. We've got yellow flags. We've got a car retired there of Grosjean, I think that is, and a Haas car pulling up there, so he's got an issue with his car, so he's going to retire. But you can see we're catching a Mercedes on soft tyres. We're on the same tyre, but obviously he's wearing out a lot more. So this is absolutely fantastic to see. We're actually catching a Mercedes. We've got a good pace, and it looks like our strategy call to go on the medium tyres is working out really well, because it looks like we're going to finish around 4th, 5th maybe. I mean, Ricciardo's going to have some good pace, obviously, so he might be able to fully catch us towards the end of this Grand Prix. But for now, doing the job in 4th place. So we move on to lap 17. We come across the line. We're going to get into 1st place once again, as again we're kind of doing a counter strategy to everyone else. We can see Hamilton on soft. Rosberg now goes on the mediums, and now Hamilton in the top left, you can see, goes on mediums. He's in 3rd. Rosberg 2nd place at the moment, and I believe a Williams car's also in the mix there, but they're all on medium tyres going to the end now of the Grand Prix. And on towards lap 19, still in 1st place. Rosberg, you can see, still mediums. We can see now, the first time I've used the actual voice control in this game to say box this lap to Jeff. And now we come in for our final pit stop onto another set of soft tyres. Make sure we hit the limiter just about. China was a bit tricky because it's quite a long pit limiter, quite a long pit entry, so I was actually kind of a bit cautious going into the pit entry. Didn't want to lock up too much and maybe going to go over the mark and speed in the pit lane, but we're in for the soft tyres. Now, the interesting thing will be, where does Hamilton come out in all of this? Because I know Rosberg is definitely probably going to be winning this Grand Prix, because he was very close, only about 10 laps, to 10 seconds, I should say, behind us before we made the pit stop. So that's definitely enough time we're going to lose in the pit stop phases. We come out on lap 20. You can see we're in P4 at the moment. Hamilton on mediums, Ricciardo behind us on mediums. They're all going to the end. And I think that there's a Williams in second place in medium tyres. So we're going to be on the faster tyre towards the end of this race. And on to lap 22. 2 laps later, we close up to Nasser, lapping Felipe Nasser. So the first time I think we're actually lapping cars, or at least physically lapping cars. Maybe we have lapped cars in the past, but I haven't actually lapped them physically on track. But we've got good pace. That actually helped us. We get DRS off Nasser, so that'll help us a little bit to kind of close the gap to Hamilton, who obviously by the end of this would have been on about at least 10 lap old medium tyres. So we should have some good pace to maybe try and challenge him. Not too sure. We're going to have to see. But on to lap 27, the second last lap of the Grand Prix. Just been pushing hard on Rich Mix. We're now down to standard because we're on the last bit of fuel we've got. So don't want to risk running out of fuel. You can see there on the bottom right. So we're in standard at the moment. We can see that is Felipe Massa, who's been overtaken by Hamilton. So now it's a 1-2 for Mercedes. Rosberg leading the way, with Hamilton in second. We're doing a 3-stop. Rosberg doing a 2-stop. Massa's been doing a 2-stop as well. And he's on worn medium tyres. And you can see just every corner we are getting on him. Going green here on the second last lap of the Grand Prix on these soft tyres. You can see the downforce and the grip I've got. Fantastic, completely different to what we had in practice, and we are genuinely catching the Brazilian here through the S section. Massa going very, very slowly indeed through this apex, just getting all the speed in third gear, getting the traction through the left-hander again, catching up to Felipe Massa, and you just want to believe that we can do this here with 2 laps to go, maybe 1.5. You can see Hamilton there is actually in the distance, so he's not even too far off, but we're catching the Brazilian in the Williams through this left-hander, then through to the swooping right. We are within DRS. We will be within 1 second, and he is going so slowly. His tyres are absolutely shot, and we're going to come through. We're not going to even need DRS here, because we're going to slipstream Felipe Massa here, and this is going to be for 3rd place in the Chinese Grand Prix. I'll go to the right-hand side of the circuit, open DRS, go down towards the hairpin. He's going to go quite well, actually, into the hairpin and go side by side with us, but we just about squeezed him out there, and we're up into 3rd place, the podium positions. Can you believe it, guys? We come through to the last lap of the Grand Prix. Nico Rosberg's won the Chinese Grand Prix. A favourite track of his, I'm guessing. Hamilton comes home in 2nd place with the 3-stop, making it work. But we're going to come home on soft tyres through the final corner. And I cannot believe this. We are going to get a podium, 3rd place at the Chinese Grand Prix. Can you believe it? At one of my worst tracks. And yeah, engineer, I think I have done a good job. 3rd place, bit of an understatement by the engineer. 3rd place at the Chinese Grand Prix, one of my worst tracks. And we've just worked out the strategy, an absolute treat. Qualifying helped a lot, having that mixed up grid, but we've done it. 3 races in, and we've got the objective I set myself, the challenge I set myself to get a podium this season. We've already done it, so I don't know where we go from now. Maybe just try and get a 2nd podium, hopefully. Maybe aim for maybe an objective of 3 podiums over the season, maybe like Ferrari did in 2015. But that is absolutely amazing. You can see our character on the podium, drinking the champagne along with Rosberg and Hamilton. I'm going to soak this one in, because that is absolutely thrilling to get 3rd place in one of my worst circuits. That is just fantastic. And Jenson Button didn't even get in the points, so we have completely outperformed this McLaren here today, and we've done the job. And that, I think that's all down to the strategy we picked. Medium tyres. I had such good pace on mediums for the first 12 laps that we did the job, and then we were just faster than the Mercedes, legitimately faster than the Silver Arrows on soft tyres, and that means we climb up just ahead of Romain Grosjean now with 16 points there, just behind Felipe Massa. We both climb up the order, and we are thoroughly beating Jenson Button at this point. I said I wanted to overhaul him by 3 points. We've done it by 15. That is absolutely crazy. So fantastic Grand Prix weekend for us. A load of points for McLaren as well, and that will help out in the constructors, no doubt. But we're right behind Felipe Massa, where I want to be, because I feel like that's who we're fighting. I'm aspiring to try and beat Williams overall in this season. And in the constructors, you can see pretty much we're where we are in the performance chart in the R&D page of our laptop there, just behind Williams. As I said, that's the team I want to try and beat this season. We can try and overhaul Williams by the end of it. That'll be flipping fantastic. But as we move on, you can see plenty of resource points earned because of that 3rd place. So we've got a good healthy amount. So hopefully going to the next round, after we do at least 1 practice session at Russia, we can maybe think about doing that 700 point engine upgrade, which would be really great. Obviously we may be very close to Williams right now in the constructors, but they still have the straight line speed advantage, so that engine upgrade should hopefully help that out, but we probably won't see that till the 5th round of this season, unfortunately. You can see we maxed out the driver position, getting all 3 objectives today, so clearly in the purple there, and we beat Jensen already on rivalry, so, you know, completely perfect weekend, I think, from my standpoint, and I think the PR agent wants to say something to us.
Hey, it's me. I just came from a meeting with the department heads. Your performance came up, and they're very pleased so far. Well done. Don't let that level drop, okay?
So clearly our PR agent is very happy with us, the team are happy with us. I think the only unhappy person in the McLaren realm is probably Jensen Button, who's been thoroughly thrashed by me in the first 3 rounds in terms of the rivalry there. Already the 3rd round we've got that objective, so it'll be interesting to see who our new rival is. Probably going to be maybe a Williams driver actually, so I hope maybe it's Massa who can try and kind of chase and give us that encouragement there. But I'll see you guys next time for the Russian Grand Prix. Smash the like button if you did enjoy this episode. Smash it for a freaking podium in a McLaren at my worst track. I think that deserves one. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do subscribe for weekly Formula 1 content, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoy your day, and I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.